I just got through watching The Mandalorian episode 3, and I've got this wild theory that may hold some kind of substance. What if the armor female blacksmith, Mandalorian lady, is actually Captian Phasma later in the series? Stick around, I'll explain why I think this could be possible. Alright, so I have been watching The Mandalorian, and I just got through watching episode 3. And I haven't made any videos. I wasn't even planning on making any videos about this show. In fact, I haven't made any videos on my channel in a while, but I really got to thinking after watching this episode that, Jon Favreau is writing all these episodes with different people directing. And this show is set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. And it's a little bit closer to the Return of the Jedi with the crumbling of the Empire, and there's still stormtroopers around, but they said that as of right now they're either turning into like mercenaries or warlords, and some people that were sympathetic to the Empire or part of the Empire are still trying to do their own things, but they're having to hide like these planets where in the back corners and these buildings, like if you watched episode 3, you know what I'm talking about. So basically my idea that got me thinking is that he needs to tie in some of the lore, even if it's not full direct in front of us as of right now, but he's going to be tying in some of the stuff that would make that transition from Return of the Jedi and the original, the second 3 movies in what would be chronological order for the story, and the newer Disney movies. And there's small little Easter eggs and hints here and there. But the thing that really caught my eye was the fact that these I can't remember the name of it, but the steel ingots, the things, and the Mandalorian keeps taking them to this female blacksmith that, for one, she seems to kind of have a really respected leader role over the Mandalorians. When the two got into the scuffle, she kind of stood back. She didn't lose her temper or anything. She let them do their thing, but then she reminded them of who they are, what their heritage, or whatever you want to call it, consists of. And once she starts speaking, everybody quits fighting. Everybody pays attention to her. So obviously she has some kind of role where she's very respected. From what I gather from the source material, my understanding of Mandalorians is that they're all combat ready. If they're not already veterans of combat, they're very proficient. They're well trained. They're very dangerous. They're very proficient with weapons. Anyway, so I'm getting off topic. What really caught my eye was her forming this armor out of the little ingots that the Mandalorian gets as his payment for doing the bounty. And it's talked about a lot with the second and third episode about the foundlings, about the kids that have no parents. And she's very sympathetic to this, and part of the mission is like, all right, I'll form this for you, but as payment, some of this metal goes towards the foundlings. Which means that she either has a hands-on role with these found children that have no parents, or she's directly tied. There's not a whole lot of layers of separation between whatever organization helps with these foundlings. In The Force Awakens, they say that most of the stormtroopers are either snatched from homes or they're orphans. Captain Phasma is over the stormtroopers, or whatever you want to call them, for the First Order. What got me thinking is what if something happens? I'm not going to speculate story wise, but what if she has like this camp that she's hiding these foundlings at and training them to be Mandalorians and stuff, but something happens with the rest of the Mandalorians, and somehow something happens and she gets given this this role with the New Order. They approach her, whatever happens, like, hey, your people are gone, there's nothing else for you to do. We know that you're good with training these children. We would like you to be the captain of, you're very proficient with guns, weapons, combat. We would like you to be the one to train our stormtroopers, our soldiers. And watching her form his cuirass, his chest piece, and everything else, and the other armor she's doing, really had me thinking, like, what if her armor, her stormtrooper armor, is actually like a mix of the way that the Mandalorian armor would be with stormtrooper armor? What if her armor is made of the same steel ingot, whatever, that he keeps bringing her? Like, that was what was left over that was supposed to help fund the foundlings, but after the New Order decides to help fund the foundling situation, or as a private investor and whatever younglings she's using to turn into stormtroopers, once the Mandalorian ways are gone or something, she's able to use what left over of these Imperial ingots and create her own stormtrooper inspired uniform for her Captain Phasma uniform, and she takes on that moniker after something happens. Like, what if at the end of the Mandalorian series, basically, like, all the Mandalorians become extinct, like somebody goes through to wipe them all out, or like by proxy, by Mando taking the Baby Yoda character. I don't know what the name of the character is. We're only on episode 3 at the time of filming this, so this is everything speculation from here, and everybody's calling it Baby Yoda, so don't give me no crap about that. But what if, like, because he dips with the Baby Yoda, like, every Mandalorian becomes a target throughout the universe, and by trying to save the baby, he ends up dooming Mandalorians in general, and over the course of time, like, most of them get wiped out. So, and she's left as like one of the last standing ones, and that's what persuades her to go to the First Order and take on the Captain Phasma persona. So I'm thinking that there's at least like a 60 to 70%. I think that there's enough there to kind of like, this might have some merit. I think that, like, if you were to try to take, because I don't think they're going to come out and just be like, oh, well, you're going to turn into Captain Phasma, or this is Poe Dameron later, but I think they're going to have it to where over the course of time, they're kind of they're going to slowly show how things transition to the new movies, and having like the early parts of what could turn into some of the characters might, in their mind, help bridge the gap to where we could be more accepting on repeat viewings of like 7, 8, and 9, and it would help like the more hardcore people accept it a little bit better. If you're like, oh, well, that makes sense why she didn't have as much screen time in 7 and 8, because she's always just kind of stayed in the shadows for the most part, and this was her role, and this is what she was meant to do. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, but like, this just kind of popped in my head. I actually tweeted it out after I watched it, thinking that, like, hey, you know what if this could actually hold some merit? But yeah, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought it was interesting enough, because I could come up with a couple of things that could tie it in together, with a little bit of liberty, but there, like I said, there's some concrete stuff in there that could make it make sense if you were creative enough to be able to do it within the show. So far, I love The Mandalorian. This is the Star Wars I wish we would have got to start with from Disney, which means they can do it. You just have to have the right people making these movies, not the people that have been so far. So, alright, well, I'm not going to bore you anymore. I guess I'll keep watching it. If something pops up or I see something else that makes sense, and if anybody wants me to continue to make some of these videos, let me know. I'm going to try to start making videos again a little bit more often. Please, if you haven't already, if you agree and think this is a possibility that this has some merit, please throw a like on the video. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Have a good one.